Probably the biggest misconception when it comes to me is that I am not an incredibly sexy, attractive beast of a human being. The rumors are false. I am indeed an incredibly attractive, sexy beast of a human being. The second biggest misconception about me is that I simply do not play the survivor role, or I play it so little that I don't understand it. Actually, I play the survivor role a lot, but I typically play it off stream and I don't record my matches because the survivor role, unfortunately, is extremely fucking boring. I hate playing the survivor role, but I do because I feel like it is important to be informed in this game on both sides of the equation. I want the perspective of both sides so that when I make opinions about the game, I feel like I'm making them from a place of information and not from a place of bias. Whenever you play only one side or even mostly one side, it's very easy to lose yourself in a lot of the things that you tend to go against because you don't know what it looks like from the other side. Unlike most of this community, I want the balancing of this game to be good for both sides, because if at any point one side feels significantly more unfair and unfun to play, the game ceases to exist. If killer players all got up and left and the killer queue times were so astronomically long that those killers also don't want to play killer, and then survivors are sitting there struggling to find a match, well then you no longer get to play the game that you claim to love because the other side isn't queuing up. And the same thing would happen vice versa. If more survivor players started feeling like the game wasn't worth playing and they either moved over the killer or they left the game completely, then the queue times become astronomically long. Nobody wants to fucking play. The thing that a lot of people seem to forget, especially those that exist in the online space here in the YouTube sphere community and things like that, is that most people get to play for like maybe an hour a day, right? When they get off of work or out of school or whatever it is that they're doing and they come to play video games, they get maybe an hour, maybe two at the very maximum. So sitting in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minute queue times is not appealing to these people, especially when the matches only last 5 to 8 minutes, give or take. But that's a rant for another day. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I noticed while I was playing a shitload of Survivor the other night. And it's the fact that solo queue sucks because you suck. One of the biggest things that people often tell me when it comes to the in-game chat is to just simply turn it off. I mean, there's so much toxicity and destructiveness in it. Why would I ever keep it on? And the fact of the matter is that I keep it on because, one, you occasionally get a really wholesome and interesting and fun interaction. I've had people who are fans of my videos, you know, get really excited that they got to play with or against me, and it's very wholesome. I love seeing those messages. It's one of my favorite messages to get, even if I completely stomped them on killer or if I failed them as survivor. They still love it. They love the idea that they got to play against me. It's their favorite thing. It's why I don't change my name even if I'm offline, although sometimes I will go Anon mode just because, you know, it makes more sense to do that. But I love that. Second of all, when I am creating content, it is good to have those in-game chat messages, but also it's good for having ideas about content. And when I was playing Survivor offline, I got a lot, and I mean a lot, of in-game chats where people were actively blaming their teammates for mistakes that I noticed that they were doing. The survivor role is incredibly boring, as I said, but it's only boring for me because I really just don't like sitting on generators. However, the survivor role is much more deep and complex than a lot of people realize. I made a video a long time ago about how much more skill survivor requires than people understand, because a lot of people only see it as that surface level. If you're not in chase, get on gen. But there's so much more intricacies to how the survivor role works. There's a lot of strategy involved. There's a lot of there's a lot of things, from should I be going for this save or should I be taking chase at this current moment, to what side of the generator should I actually be working on. There's very small little details that a lot of people don't notice. But one of the things that you'll notice if you play a lot of Killer or if you play a lot of Survivor and you're actually good at Survivor is that a lot of Survivor players are so wrapped up in this idea that it's simply easy to do Survivor, you just gotta, quote, do gens, that they'll often make large mistakes that lead to them losing the match and then turn around and blame their teammates. Now, blaming your teammates for the losses and your own shortfalls is not a thing unique to Dead by Daylight. This happens in every single team-based game. In fact, I would say the most common thing you'll see in like Overwatch or Apex or even Fortnite or whatever is someone flaming their teammates for not doing what they feel like their teammates should have been doing. But in Dead by Daylight Survivor, I find it so interesting whenever people will flame and blame their teammates, but then turn around and do the dumbest mistakes available. For example, a common mistake that I keep seeing, especially whenever I'm playing solo queue Survivor, is survivors who will be in chase and then take the killer to the hook. Like, they'll get injured by the killer and then they'll run to the hook to do a hook trade instead of leading the killer further away from the hook so a different teammate can go for that unhook. They will immediately bum rush over there, go down in front of the hook, and oftentimes I will be going over to get the save because I see somebody else in chase, and then all of a sudden there's a person on the hook, there's a person down, and then the killer sees me because my dumbass is already going over there to try to get this unhook that realistically that person should be nowhere near of. I will watch this kind of thing happen, and then people will flame their teammates for going down too early, or they'll say like, oh my god bro, this killer is like so bad, or just some fucking stupid shit, right? Another common mistake that I'll see is people doubling up on generators they shouldn't be doubling up on. If it is not the last like 2 generators left that need to be completed, you should almost never be doubling up on any fucking generator. You should be spreading pressure across the map as much as you can. Survivors should be staying as far away from each other as possible unless you're playing against like twins, which is like the maybe like one of 3 exceptions that you should be grouped up at any point in the early game. But survivors will try to take solace in numbers, I guess, and then they'll inevitably end up leading to the downfall of their team. But another thing that Survivor players will do that really fucking baffles the shit out of me is they'll see like a weak teammate. Like a couple of days ago, I had a Sable player who was, because of course it was a Sable player, who was incredibly ineffective when she got chased. She would go down within a couple of seconds every single chase. She was just very bad. So every time the heartbeat would show up, she would immediately get off of whatever gen she was on and leave, which is fine. I took aggro a couple of times for her, tried to make it to where the killer player was paying attention to me because we obviously didn't want our Sable player to get in chase and go down and die. We'd rather have her on a generator and safe, and then the rest of us who can actually last in chase would take that chase from her. But for whatever reason, the Felix on our team decided that he would keep going near the Sable player and making a bunch of noise, spam vaulting, dropping pallets, blowing up generators, and purposely missing skill checks. And then in the in-game chat, when everybody was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, oh, the Sable sucks, bro. She deserved to die. What? And then he goes, solo queue sucks. I'm so tired of this. Don't put your weak teammate on a silver platter then, you fucking idiot. Like, how do you become a self-fulfilling prophecy and then have the audacity and the goal to blame the Sable? Like, yeah, the Sable wasn't good in chase, don't get me wrong. She was technically, on a technical level, a bad teammate. But you're the reason that we ended up with only one escape, because instead of letting the Sable work on gens and hide for the rest of the match while she was on death hook and not get into chases and basically waste no time of the killers, instead of giving the killer free pressure, you could have been taking the aggro, you could have been taking the chase, you could have been the one to actually protect the Sable. But a lot of Survivor players are so wrapped up in their own fucking almost entitlement that the second they see a teammate doing something that they consider suboptimal or not as good as they want it, they will throw the game in order and then complain about solo queue. I remember I was playing Killer one time. It was so baffling, but I downed this, I forget which character it was, might have been a Quan or something. I downed one survivor, put them on the hook, and then turned around and there was another survivor that was just teabagging in front of me. So I downed them, and then the first survivor got unhooked, and all of a sudden there were 3 survivors just teabagging around me and purposefully throwing the game. So I hooked all 3 of them, and then I let the 4th one get hatched because they were the only one that didn't throw. And then at the end game chat, all 3 of them started flaming the 4th survivor. And I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Y'all threw the match. And they were like, in the first chase, she got in a locker. I was like, okay, what? And they were like, well, she was obviously throwing the game. She didn't care. It's the first 45 seconds of the match. What are you talking about? The game hadn't been going on long enough to see whether or not this person was throwing. But even if they were, what are you doing? Why are you still not trying your best to make sure that the game can be considered a win? Because the thing is that if she just gets in a locker the second someone else gets in chase, what's to say that you can't keep me in chase long enough for the other 2 people to do gens? Or what's to say that she wasn't getting in the locker just until I was away from where she was? Like, yeah, it's not great for her to get in the locker, but seeing someone get in a locker in the first 45 seconds of the match and then immediately think, oh, this person's throwing, and then you throw your games, and then flaming them. Like, you see how the thread of logic doesn't exist there? Do you see how this doesn't come off as you being intelligent or smart or even not a part of the problem? Solo queue sucks because the vast majority of Survivor players are either stupid bad and don't realize it, or they're tossing their games in the fucking bin at the slightest slight against them. You can't tell me that solo queue sucks while you are simultaneously being the problem. And the way that the game is balanced nowadays, Survivor is so fucking easy that the only way you can lose as Survivor, the only way to get less than a 3K is if at least 2 survivors are stupid bad at the fucking game. If you constantly allow the killer to get free pressure over and over again, if you're throwing for flashlight saves you're not going to get, if you're swarming hooks, if you're fucking like not running away properly when the killer is coming, if you're leading the killer toward a hooked teammate because so another teammate gets in trouble, all of these different things, then you are part of the fucking problem. If you're not able to sit back and think about all the mistakes that you're making that lead to the killer snowballing, you're part of the problem. You have 50 billion pallets, you have 70-second hook timers, you have 15 seconds of base kit borrow time, you have perks that are equip and win type of value. You have so much in your fucking hands, and you keep losing because you fucking suck. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. A great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.